Hello, Jenny Hall here for Trinity Stamps. Today I have a very fun Christmas in July card to share with you. This is an interactive Christmas card and I'm going to make it a slimline card. So the slimline card base measures 8.5 inches by 7 inches and it's scored at the 3.5 inch mark. To make it easy for a panel to fit perfectly on the front, I'm using a die. It's a slimline die. It's the Wonky Wilderness from Trinity Stamps. My interactive portion is going to be the Lift the Flap die set, and I'm going to decorate it with some cats. I want to add some ink to the actual card front on the card base. So I'm using some Post-it tape to make sure that I don't run over that score line. And then I'll be using some blending brushes from Trinity Stamps. And if you notice that they're all together on this nice little stand, that's called the blending bar, and it is magnetic. So my brushes stay up, they stand up, and they stay on that bar. Each color cap that is attached to the bottom of the brush is color coded, so I know exactly which brush to use with what color stamp pad. It's so much nicer than just guessing and having brushes wobbling around. I'm using some absolutely gorgeous inks from Ink on 3, and this is the Peacock Blue and the My Jam Purple, and I'm adding colors in a horizontal line straight across. The ink blending doesn't have to be perfect. I'm only trying to get the colors down onto the paper, and it seems to me once they kind of sit inside the paper together for a little bit, the colors mellow out a little bit and blend together just a little bit more. It could be my imagination, but these inks seem just a little bit magical. They help me out quite a bit. So I'm going to add these lines of color and then go back in and smooth them out just a wee bit. And then I'm going to take that die cut panel that is the same size as the card front, and I'm going to add ink, the same colors, the same way, so that I have a panel that can lay on top of this. And once the flaps open, they will look like the same card front. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about as we get a little closer. So in order to create a little bit of a snowy look, I took a little bit of water and spritzed it on and picked that up, and it looks like little tiny dots, and then used some white acrylic paint, added a little bit of water, and with a paintbrush I flicked it on to the card front. And now I'm doing exactly the same thing to that die cut panel. The only difference is that I added a little bit of black ink around the outside edges because I do want this to look like it's nighttime. So here is that same little bit of white acrylic paint. I added some more water to it to reactivate it because it dried up a little bit. And then I'm just flicking it on, and then I'll dry that. And it looks just like the card front, so that when these flaps open, you will not be able to really see a big difference. But when the flaps are closed, then you will not see what's inside. Now, as I am die cutting each one of these little openings, I'm using the same die and just placing it on the panel and then securing it with a little bit of washi tape. And I decided to make them open in different directions just for fun. I know that if a child receives this card, then that will be a super fun element for them. So I will make sure that when it's Christmas time, I send this card to somebody that will really enjoy the fun element of an interactive card. Now coloring all these kitties, and I think the only hard part here was deciding what color for which cat. So I've seen more striped cats that were yellow and orange. So we're going for yellow and orange on the one cat. And I'm thinking I want it to look realistic, but in the end, I just put some colors down and thought to myself, it's okay if the colors don't look perfect. The fun element of the card is the peekaboo, the little lift the flap peekaboo windows. And that's what's really going to grab the attention for whoever receives this card at Christmas time. So the coloring doesn't have to be full 100% blended Copics with nice, beautiful contours. Instead, I just decided that I was going to have fun and make this card. And it was something totally different. I think Christmas in July is a great time to be able to start working on Christmas cards. I don't know about you, but if you're like me, you never have enough Christmas cards by the time December gets here. We try to send our Christmas cards out like the beginning of the second week of December, which means I need to have a whole lot of cards made. And because my family and friends know that I'm a card maker, they kind of look forward to getting a handmade card instead of a store-bought card for Christmas time. And so that means I've got to make a ton of cards. In fact, I should probably make 3 of each card that I make a video to share with you so that I'll have a lot more stockpile cards made up. So we're going with some really fun colors on this next kitty. And I kind of think it looks like a girl, so I used a little bit more pink on the belly and around the mouth. And then here's a fun red for the jacket. The background does not have any red in it whatsoever. So I decided that I wanted each one of the cats to be able to really stand out from that background, even though those delicious inks are so beautiful. They're so vibrant, aren't they? They're just so pretty. And I want my images to not get lost behind there. So I know they'll have just a little bit of a white edge around the die cut area. That's going to help them stand out, but I want the coloring to help them stand out as well. So here's that third cat, and he's colored kind of the same as the red jacket cat. We've got some little bit more white and gray though than we do. Now, when I was coloring this, I thought, well, what color are cats? Because we don't have cats in our family. We're a dog family. And so I was trying to remember any of the cats that I've been around. And it seems like there's been more black and white or gray cats than there have been any others. Here is all of the coordinating dies to cut all the little pieces out. And now we're taking that die cut panel and we're going to add liquid glue around all of the edges. And I'm getting close to the interactive flap area, but not on it. This glue because I didn't put too much, it didn't spread out too much, but I lifted each one of the flaps just to make sure that the flap didn't get glued in place. And I left it open for just a few minutes to make sure that there would be no liquid glue that would hold the flap closed. It worked out pretty good. I didn't spread too much glue this time. So here is a look at placing each one of the little kitty cats behind one of the surprise doors. And I really love this interactive die set. I think there are so many ways to be able to use it. And this is just one of 1,000 different ways. If you're getting started on your Christmas card soon, then this would be something that you have in your craft stash now that you can use and just get started on some really fun Christmas cards. Here is a little, I guess it's a candle, just a little candlestick. And I even made sure that I got that little element in there with one of the cats. Now for the front of the card, I had ideas that I wanted to put cats on the front. and that way it would look much more decorated on the card front. But every time I auditioned those little cats on the front and held them up and saw them, it took away from what was on the inside of the flaps of the little hidden area. So against what I wanted to see, I just kept it really simple on the front. And I asked my kids, I showed them the card design and said, "Now, what do you think?" And they said, "What's behind the door?" And that's when I knew that I had done something that I had gotten success, if that's the word I'm looking for. It doesn't happen every time that the way that I plan something in my mind to work actually comes out in a project. But I wanted for the receiver of the card to be able to see it and immediately think, what's behind the door? I need to open the door, without having to draw an arrow on the card or to place a stamp that says lift here. I wanted the receiver to be able to see at once that there was a interactive area and that they would lift that flap. So I placed all the little music notes next to the crate that says meow on it. And so that kind of gives the idea that there's singing on the inside of the crate. And then the fa la 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 is just kind of an echo of the singing coming from behind the interactive door. I hope that you like this project, and I would love to hear what your thoughts are. Thank you so much for joining us on the Trinity YouTube channel, and we will see you next time.